Hi besties, it is I know I am a rare sight. I know, so enjoy. I'm sorry, the schedule is a little bit complicated these past few weeks, but anyway, today I have a video for you guys. Woohoo! Because I have actually been doing things. I didn't take a full break. I just didn't really have the chance to film. But today I'm gonna show you a special betta fish. Now, around Christmas, I decided to make a present to myself and actually make some betta setups. I love betta fish, but I just wasn't ready to start that whole thing all over again. I wanted to make sure that I had the space and I had the means to take care of them and so on. So for Christmas, I went and I bought myself a betta fish, which is not the fish that I'm gonna show you today. It's a different one that I'm gonna talk about in a different video. But the fish I'm gonna show you today is a hitchhiker. Not really. So I got a betta that had some fin rot. I resolved that, but at the pet shop, I saw this little fish, very sad fish, in one of those little aquariums. And I thought, oh, maybe I can take this one home as well and save. But the more I looked at it, the more I could tell it is an old betta fish. And I actually asked the person at the pet shop about him and its history. And they said it's been there for maybe a year, maybe more. So by the looks of him, yes, he was an old betta. And the thing with old bettas is that they become less and less, I'm not sure how to say it, vigorous? Not vigorous, that's like plant talk. Less and less capable of bouncing back and making those amazing transformations that you see on the internet. I have a few videos as well. I love to get fish that are in need to be taken home and just making them flourish and making them look amazing. It wasn't the case with this one, and I could tell, but I couldn't leave him there. So I took him home. So this little betta's name is Panda, and that's because he's supposed to be a panda betta. I swear, I don't even know how he's supposed to look like, to be honest. I think he's a short fin betta, but I'm not sure how he's supposed to look like. And you will see he was in need of help. Now, I did the best that I could, and I'll walk you through the treatments and everything that I did, but you will see after 2 months and a bit, he is still looking pretty similar to how he looked the first day, but he's definitely not behaving the same. Definitely he is a happy fish. What sold me when I got him in the pet shop was that I tapped a little the aquarium and he came, and I thought, okay, you're coming home with me. Now he's a million times more active than he used to be, but looks wise he will never be in his full glory, and that's sad. But at the same time, even old fish deserve, for as long as they still deserve a nice home. And I tried to provide in an aquarium that was meant for shrimps, but it's okay for him. I hope I'm providing him a good retirement home. So here's the story of Panda, my little old betta, and I'll come back with the outro. And here is the little betta. Now, for those of you who think he was kept in a cup, he wasn't. He was actually kept in that system that I do believe Corey from Aquarium Co-op first introduced on YouTube, the one with the little aquariums. But as I do believe he pointed out at some point, it still wasn't ideal, and bettas can still end up in this condition even if they're not kept in a cup. As you can see, he is very emaciated, and I believe he suffers from at least fin rot, but maybe other things as well. So I did a full list of treatments, hoping to treat whatever he was suffering from. So I arranged a small quarantine tank. I added an internal filter that I added a little sponge to the return so that we don't have a lot of water movement, because this fish has some swim bladder issues. And even with very low flow, you will see he's still being just pushed around in the aquarium by the smallest of flow. I do believe that because of the small space, his muscles are a little atrophied feed as well, so he's not a very strong fish, he's weak, and he has swim bladder issues for sure. So first I'm starting with a sort of a tonic. This is an Esha product called Optima. It's supposed to be a vitamin complex. You can use this during treatments or just as a standalone booster, let's say. I don't really know if it works, but I had it around. Now, not that I think he will jump, but I do add a little net to this tank just in case. This is a short fin betta and they are very prone to jump. They are good swimmers in comparison to the heavily veiled bettas. So here you can see the state of him. Apart from the visual aspect, you can see he has some issues maintaining his balance, quote unquote, in water. He's a little buoyant. He is very thin and overall very, very sad. That being said, even in this quarantine, when I tapped on the glass, he still came to greet me, and I knew there was still hope for this little fish. You can, I think, also see in this frame that he is almost blind. He has scales grown over his eyes. That happens with older bettas that have a certain gene, I think the dragon scale gene. So here I am trying to feed him. First, I'm trying with some frozen brine shrimp, but he's just not having it. He is hungry, he's trying to eat, but he ends up just spitting the food, and it's not just the brine shrimp. So I'm guessing he has some gill issues. Now for the treatments, I'm starting with Esha 2000, which is a sort of a antibacterial, antifungal. It has a broad spectrum of activity, let's call it like that. And I pair it with Esha GDX. This is good for gill flukes. And since he is spitting his food and he seems to have inflated gills, I think this will do good. Later on, I didn't film, but later on I do make a treatment with NDX as well, which is a deworming based on levamisole. Spitting of food can also occur with fish that have internal parasites. So I couldn't do all of these treatments all at once. So overall, his quarantine lasted for a month, or maybe more than a month actually. But there was a period of time where I really could not make him eat. I tried pretty much everything, and I do remember in his little tank at the pet shop, they were feeding him some granules. They were all at the bottom, so he didn't eat in a long time. I believe he is hungry, but something really makes him not want to chew. And again, I suspect there is a gill issue there. So what I decided to do is try flakes. And finally, this is something he eats, and I kept him on flakes. And by the way, this is the bug bites in flake form from Fruval. This is the only thing he ate for 2 entire weeks. Currently, he still prefers, but he does enjoy some granules from time to time as long as they're not very tough. The granules they use at that particular store are very, very tough. I personally don't like them. So I switched him to some Denedle soft granules and basically flakes. This is what he eats. And even with the flakes at the beginning, he would eat 1 or 2 flakes and then he would spit up the flakes again. I honestly cannot tell you if the problem was internal parasites or flukes or something, but currently that problem is fixed. So in the meantime, I prepared his forever home. This is a UNS tank. It's a shallow. I love me some shallows. I'm using an old Aqua Clear that I don't think they make anymore. I recently bought a new one. We're gonna make a review of it. And an old Twin Star light. I have to tell you, I ordered some Chihiro's lights, some 45 centimeter Chihiro's lights from Chihiro's Denmark, and they did not update my order in 2 weeks. I emailed them. They're not responding. I'm a little concerned. That's besides the point. But anyway, I do intend to switch the light at some point if somebody would bother responding to my order. As substrate, I'm using just some dark inert gravel. I don't want this tank to be like fully high intensity planted tank. I will plant it, but it's gonna be a low intensity tank. No CO2, no super fertilized substrate and so on. Just a piece of wood and some very easy to care for plants such as Microsorium, Cryptocorynes, and Anubias. So I'm gluing the epiphytes to the piece of wood, and for the Cryptocorynes, I am just pushing them into the gravel. I will use some root tabs, and my personal favorites are the Tetra ones because they're the most affordable and easiest to find in my area, but any root tab is okay for Cryptocorynes. They will appreciate it. As for the crypts, I went for shorter ones such as Wenti, both green and brown, and a few others that really didn't have any tags. Yeah, it's a thing in our pet shop. So sometimes you buy something but you don't know what it is. It is a cryptocorin is all I know. So I wish I could tell you the names of all of these cryptocorins, but I really don't know. So I'm adding a little bit more gravel here and there where I feel like the crypt will not stay in the gravel. I'm trying to keep a slope to this tank because being that it's a shallow, height is really not the strong point, but for bettas and especially heavily finned bettas, this is actually ideal as they do sometimes have some issues swimming to the top. So I'm using tap water. I of course dechlorinated. I use the Seachem Prime dechlorinator. Oh, of course the wood is floating, so I'm just placing a rock for a few days here. Currently it's not floating. But yeah, story of our lives. Wood that is floating and messing up our aquascape. What to do? So I'm using Seachem Prime and Seachem Stability, my usual jazz, and I will opt for doing a fish in cycle. With these types of tanks that don't have aqua soil and a proper source of nitrogen, I don't wait for a month or whatever to cycle it. It's just not necessary. So I'm doing a fish in cycle and making sure that the parameters stay in check. Now, the plants came with a weird snail, a weird type of neorite that ended up not making it, but I thought it was interesting. And if you guys know what type of snail this is, let me know in a comment. He has an interesting shell, too bad he didn't make it. And the second or third day, it's time for my little panda to actually go in. As you can see, the water is pretty clear, parameters are in check. I'm doing quite frequent water changes at the beginning, and I don't have ammonia spikes or anything because there's practically nothing in there that spikes my ammonia. So as you can tell, he is spooked. I don't know if he's ever seen plants in his life. But trust me, he got used to things very fast, and here is the tank today. You can see the plants have started to grow a little bit. It looks like it's a home, right? It looks like somebody's living there. I also offered him some tank mates, such as some red cherry shrimps and some snails. Due to the fact that he's kind of almost blind, he really doesn't peck at them or chase them. Although he sees movement, and initially he was very fascinated by the stuff moving around him and he would just stare at the shrimps. I don't know how much he can see, but he sees something. But yeah, he's quite a docile little betta. However, as you can see, his looks didn't really improve, and I honestly don't believe he will ever improve. I believe he's quite old. You can see his head is very dark. That is a sign, in my experience, that tells me this betta is very old. The fact that these scales grew over his eyes, that's again an age thing. A young betta will not have this issue. It will develop at least in a year, even more. Also, his overall coloration is very opaque. Again, a sign that this betta is quite old. And yeah, I believe he will never look pretty. I believe he doesn't really have much time left. But I also like to believe that his last memories will be much better than in that empty tank, suffering from all the ailments he was suffering. Anyway, his personality though is absolutely changed. He is very friendly. He gets excited whenever he sees me or anybody in front of the tank. He still comes in front of the tank when I tap on the glass. That is my little cue to tell him that I am here to give him food because he's kind of blind. His favorites are currently still the flakes, the bug bites flakes, but he is accepting the Nadla pellets as well. And even though he's not the most handsome little betta, he's definitely the most charming betta I've ever had, and I really care about him. And I do not regret the fact that I brought him home, and I will be heartbroken when he passes, but that's no reason to pass on him just because I'm not gonna have him for long. No, I'm really happy I brought him home, and I think he's happier too. Right. Is he a fish you would take home? Probably not. Is he a fish that, would take your attention when you go to the pet shop and be like, oh, this is the one I want? No. That's why I got him. Because I knew, he was already 1 year there, at least. I knew nobody would take him home. And I knew that would be his last. I don't even want to Okay, I don't want to say because I'm gonna cry. Okay, he's old and he doesn't look good, but I think he's so worth it. He's so enjoyable. He's so personable now. He's a very friendly fish. He doesn't like really care that it's not me. He just comes and says hello. He's a wonderful fish and I wish he had a different life. I really wish so. But I hope that this video inspires you to give old fish a chance. If you can, if you have a smaller aquarium with some shrimps or something, just get an old fish. Just get him. And I know, many of you will tell me, no, you don't want to support these pet shop chains. First of all, in my country, we're such a small country, we don't have pet shop chains. They're all like mom and pop, like pet shops. I'm not gonna go into like the whole polemic of, no, we should like boycott, shops that don't care for their fish properly and stuff. No, there are commercial reasons here that I'm just not gonna go into. We are a small country. We need to buy in order for anybody like to ship to us. It's a different thing. So I don't even want to hear it in the comments. I don't want to hear it. I've been like a warrior for the past 20 years and what the heck did I change? Nothing. I'm tired of like letting these fish like rot in pet shops for the greater good, for my own peace of mind that I'm changing the world. I'm not, bestie. I'm gonna get these fish home. So I hope that this video will inspire at least some of you to not be so self-righteous and just get fish that need to be taken home, even if they're old. If you will, maybe we can start something. If you want, leave me a comment down below with your Betta fish that maybe doesn't look the best, but he means the world to you, or she. Leave me a comment with an Instagram picture or whatever, and I'll show it in my future video. I will, I promise you. Leave me a comment with a photo of your saved Betta fish and so on, or saved fish, whatever fish in general, and I'll feature you in my videos. Right, so with that said, I'm gonna end. This turned out to be a rant. I guess I have a lot of baggage because I've been in the hobby a long time. So yeah, I just hope this video inspired you to save a fish. End of story. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the story of my little Betta, and let me know your stories down below if you have any. Right, so with that said, I'll see you next times. Next times. Bye!